Kitchen. Today we are going to create a vegan version of meat and potato pie. Very simple dish. You don't need a lot of ingredients or herbs, but it's packed full of wonderful flavours. So let's begin. So for the vegetables, I've got a medium onion, which I have just sliced. I have one tomato that I've roughly chopped, and I have a tin of carrots, just a normal tin of carrots, 300 gram portion. And then for the herbs and spices, I have a heaped teaspoon of Dijon mustard. I have a level teaspoon of white powder, teaspoon of salt. I have a teaspoon of rosemary, teaspoon of mixed herbs. I have a pinch of caraway seeds, and I have 4 vegan beef stock cubes and 3 teaspoons of Aldi's chicken granules. And then to this we will add our mince. To this we will add our new, most amazing product, tender beefless pieces. Never tried these before, but I am really looking forward to giving them a go. This I got from Tesco, and it's a 360 gram portion. So we will add them, and we will be using 4 big potatoes and 1 medium potato for the potato part. And for the pastry, we will be using Aunt Bessie's short crust pastry mix. So let's begin. So to this pan we will add a tablespoon of olive oil, but we will also add a tablespoon of butter to this, like so. And then we will add our onions first, because what we want to do is we want to brown these onions off and make them translucent, because we want that onion gravy taste. So we'll come back once these have begun to become translucent and turn brown. Okay, we've got our onions nice and brown. If you look here, they're all nice and brown, and I've just taken it off the heat for just a couple of minutes, because what we're going to do is we're going to thicken this a little bit, and we're going to use about a tablespoon of flour. Okay, so what you do is you tip your flour in and you mix it. In fact, we're going to use a little bit more because I like the sauce to be really thick. So we'll probably use 2. If you don't like your gravies to be that thick, you don't need to put as much flour in, essentially. So as you can see, it's created like a sauce with the butter. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add our stock. Now all the herbs that we had, I have all the herbs that we've had, I have put into a bowl, and I have added 1 pint of hot water to it. And as you can see, there's all the herbs and stock in this. And what we're going to do is we're just going to give this a bit of a stir, and then we're just going to add this very slowly while we keep stirring this. Okay, so we'll just add a little bit at a time, and what will happen is that the flour and the butter will create a thicker sauce, and as you can see, it's getting thicker. Very slow, just keep stirring it. If you put in too much too quickly, you will get lumps, and you don't want lumps. Lumps are the worst thing in the world. So we want it nice and thick, and if we just take a little bit of time with this, you will get a really nice gravy that's full of herbs and full of wonderful stock. And we just keep going like this Now once you're in a position whereby the sauce is thinning slightly, you can tip more of it in, like so. And we just make sure we get everything out. And now what we do is we will put this back on the heat and then add our tin of carrots. Okay, we've put that now on the heat, and I want you to add your carrots with the water, because that water has a wonderful carrot flavour in it. And we will also add now the tomatoes, and then we will add our vegan beef. If you had normal beef, you would need to fry that first and then add it to the gravy. Or if you were using alternatives such as mushrooms, you would treat exactly the same, or soya or mince, you would treat exactly the same. So I am going to add this. Very excited to try this. The pieces look really quite good actually. I'm quite shocked at how good these pieces look. Let's just open them up to show you. They look actually like proper pieces of beef, and the texture, look at the texture of that, it looks like proper pieces of beef. So we're going to add this into here like so, and this is just for reference, it's a 360 gram portion. So if you were using beef, use 360 grams. If you were using mushrooms, use the same. And then we're going to give this a real good stir, and we're going to cook this for a good 5 to 10 minutes. And then what we'll do is we'll add our potatoes. Okay, this has been cooking away now for about 10 minutes. And we are going to add our potatoes. So I have washed and cut our potatoes. I would say I've cut them about 1 inch for each one, and we're just going to add the potatoes to this. And I would cook this then, if you like your potatoes soft, I would cook this for a further 10 minutes to 15 minutes. You want your potatoes to be part boiled, because then they'll go in the oven with the pastry on top, and they'll cook in the oven as well. So make sure you can just put a fork through them, but still have some resistance, and then they should be then perfect then and soft for when you get them out of the oven after the pastry has been put on. So I'm going to cook mine because, as I say, I don't like overly soft potatoes. I'm going to cook mine for just 5 minutes, and then I will prepare the potatoes and meat to go into the oven with the pastry on top. Okay, while we're waiting for our meat and potatoes just to cook through, we're going to put the contents of this pastry mix into this bowl. If you don't have pastry mix, if you think of the following information, every time to make pastry from scratch, you need to every 2 parts, you need 1 part of fat. So for example, if you had 100 grams of flour, you would put in 50 grams of butter or lard or a vegan alternative. And then you'd add a little bit of salt, and then just a tiny bit of water to bind everything together. And that is how you would typically make a pastry mix from scratch. Opening this a little bit more. We won't use all this pastry mix for our dish today. We will be doing different things with that. I generally freeze my pastry for another time that I need it. So to this, we will add up to 8 tablespoons of water. So I'm going to add 4 at this time, and I'm just going to mix this, getting it everywhere, and then you would add 4 again. So what you want is you want a dough that starts sticking together but is not overly wet. Don't worry if it becomes too wet. You can offset that by putting a little bit of flour in it, but you don't need the pastry to be too wet. So put your hands in now and start to feel if the pastry is coming together. And as you can see, it's coming together. And work this pastry, getting your hands dirty, work this pastry. And if you need a little bit more water in, add a bit more water. Don't be frightened just to add a bit more, but just remember, add a bit at a time. So I'm going to keep working this, and then I'll come back when the dough is in a position to be rolled. I wanted to show you a consistency of really what your pastry should be like. The more you knead it, the more it'll bind, but as you can see, it's stuck together. It's, you know, it can be easily rolled out. It's not sticking, but we'll use a little bit of flour to roll this out. And what we'll be doing, we'll be covering this. I've just had the meat and potato pie cooking for that 5 minutes. You'd do it for 15 to get your potatoes a little bit more softer. And we are going to cover the whole of this dish with the pastry. I am going to let this cool for about 20 minutes before I do that, because if you put it on if your food is hot and you put the pastry on, it tends to sag a little bit, so we just need that a little bit cooler. Okay, we have left the meat and potato pie to cool down a little bit, and I'm just flouring the pastry just so we can roll it without the rolling pin sticking to the pastry. And some people are brilliant at rolling pastry, others aren't. I can say I'm probably mediocre. The key is to keep turning it as so, and just try and grow your pastry big enough for whatever it is you're wanting to cover. Obviously your pastry doesn't want to be overly thick, but it doesn't want to be overly thin either. But I'll show you the thickness of the pastry when I get to that stage. It'll get bigger and bigger, hopefully, if you're doing it right, and it won't be sticking. If you feel like it's sticking on your pin, just put a little bit more flour on. It's as easy as that. Just a tiny bit more flour on. Now, it's always important to roll out your flour or bigger than your actual pan or whatever it is that you're covering, your dish or whatever it is you're covering, because what you do then is you cut the sides, and I'll show you how we cut the sides when we get to that stage. So I'm going to continue, I'm going to continue rolling this out, and then I will show you how we cover the dish. So I have rolled out the flour to the size that I want, and a good tip, because your flour could break, is to use the rolling pin on the other side. Hand on one side, rolling pin on another. And I'm going to set this up so I can show you how to place it over your pie. Okay, so we have our pie here. If it fits, it fits. If it doesn't, it don't. We can patch it up, don't worry about it. Just slightly maneuver this over your meat and potato pie, making sure you have edges underneath like so. So we've got the pastry on. Now what I want you to do is nip with your fingers like this onto the side of the glass like so. As you can see, just nipping between your thumb and your index finger like so. And I want you to do this on all of the way around like so, making sure that you've got that pattern all the way around. This will seal, hopefully, all your ingredients in, but it'll give you a reasonably nice edge as well. And then what we do then is we will cut off the surplus. So So with a knife, you want to then cut off the surplus. I normally go to the edge and then trim off. Don't know if you can see that. Let me go to here. So I put this over the edge just slightly, and you can see here, I just use a knife and I just trim off like so of the pastry. And you do this all the way around, so you'll have a nice neat edge, like so. You'll go all the way around your pastry, and you'll make a lovely, nice, neat, presentable edge. As I say, sometimes it'll pull away a little bit easier. So we'll do this all the way around, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what decorations we can do on top. So with a small bit of the leftover pastry, I just like to make, or try to make, something that's a little bit presentable that can go on top. You can put whatever you want to put on top. You can write your name, you can do anything. But I try and do something, you know, like a leaf or something like that. And I just, easy as this, I just cut out, hopefully cut out 2 leaves. That's 1 leaf. And then the other leaf, like so. So I just cut them out like this. And I will place this on the top. It's nothing amazing, but I just think it adds just a little bit of something nice. So we'll bring over the pie, and very, very important, you must put a steam hole in your pie. Very important. I put 2 steam holes in, and then I will just put little flowers. I might make 2 more to make it look prettier at this side as well. The soy milk on, I'm using just Soya Light. Just put a little tiny bit in an egg cup or whatever container you have available. And I use a brush like this to brush on the milk. The milk adds a browning to the pastry. Brush it very gently. You don't want to pierce the pastry in any way, but you want to make sure everything is covered with it so it gets that nice, lovely brown pastry that we all love and we all enjoy. So give that a real good do. It doesn't matter if it gets in the holes, anything like that, it's all gonna cook perfectly. Get your little leaves, and that is, make sure you get your edges as well, so it is all perfect. And that is ready to go in the oven. Okay, it has had about 25 minutes, and as you can see, the pastry is amazing. Look at this. Oh, it smells beautiful. All the beautiful flavours are just all bubbling away. Oh, it looks absolutely delightful. I think it's time to serve. Okay, the pie is done, and how amazing does this look? Can you imagine everybody coming, visiting, and you dish up this amazing pie? They're gonna love it, and they'll never ever even know that it is vegan. Okay, so I'm gonna cut a piece now, and you'll easily feed 6 people with this pie. I'll just cut this piece right now, and we will just teeter, get the pastry just removed like that. Oh, look at this. Oh, right, okay. So we'll put the piece of pastry on here. And look at how delicious that is. Sorry, apologies, the knife fell. Look at this, oh my goodness. Look how amazing this is. Potatoes, look, so beautiful, so rich, so amazing. And why not serve it with some beautiful cauliflower, just to give it that ooh la la. There you go. Amazing meat and potato pie. If you like this, please like and subscribe and hit that notification button. And stay safe, everyone. Bye.